Friends. So, family and friends, all family mainly. We want to say thank you so much for coming. Thank you for being here, supporting us. I now know who is going to show up to our funeral. Love you. It means a lot. When I told a couple of the tables, I said, hey, we're going to go around and do like a quick Q&A just for fun. Because I know some people that will ask us questions on the side, and I think everybody wants to know the answer. And it'd be fun because you know we have the YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel is, if you haven't already subscribed, at Cross Country Living, if you type in the YouTube search bar, at Cross Country Living. And so the purpose of it, well, you know what, I'm not even going to answer that. If that's a question you want to know the answer to, ask us. But, so yeah, if you have a question, we'd love to answer it, whether it's about what we're doing, family, life, anything. We'd be happy to answer. My response is it'll be as appropriate answer as is for the crowd in front of us. All right? So, I don't know. I am screaming over. I used to be a middle school teacher, so it's like the same thing. All right? So anyway, if you have a question, hit us. What do you got? Anybody?
No.
What national park are you most looking forward to visiting?
That is a really good question. I don't know much about geography in the United States. I know that there's Texas, and it's the only country that I love. And so we're going to go explore every other state outside of Texas, and we'll figure that out.
Now that I have a book, we can look through and figure out which one.
I honestly, I think like Yosemite or Yellowstone, those kinds of places. The stuff that I see on TV that have good networking television.
Arches, yeah.
Okay, and so please throw us ideas because you said Moab and Arches.
Yeah, Arches National Park in Utah.
Okay, I like that.
I'm the camera person.
Because we really don't know. That's the thing. It's like.
Well, that's the
I think they have
service.
bacon
You guys will inform us.
Go.
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. What else?
What
Yes.
did it take to convince your wife and your family to really actually do this after maybe?
Oh, that's the
6
question.
years
So the
of
question is
talking?
what?
Huh?
What did it take to convince?
Yeah. How did you guys actually say we're doing this?
Okay, so 2 years ago we had talked about selling everything because so the answer to that, a lot of different things go into answering that, whether it's family, spiritual, economic, all of it. 2 years ago we had talked about doing this, but we had said, well, let's purge the house, capitalize on the market, because my faith was this market's going to go down, okay? We're already on that slide, depending on the price point of the house. And so we already felt that in the sale of our home, but 2 years ago we weren't quite at the peak. And we talked about staying locally in an RV, and that just didn't sound very appealing. And we didn't do it, and that was awesome because we would have gone all through COVID in an RV stationary locally. So good Lord kept us from doing that. And so when it rolled around this time, again, economically, we still know that the market's doing weird stuff. We're in the financial business. We talk to people about money and, hey, you need to get ready. And so what the real nail in the coffin on the financial side was, Alison hit me middle of spring. May? Oh, it was May.
Before we went to Christmas.
Yeah, she goes, hey, we just got notice that our taxes went up on our house another $7,000.
That is nuts. That's nuts.
And so when that happened, the conversation went to, well, we could just afford it, we'll just continue making more money and blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't want to afford it. I don't want this to be a make more money to survive our own freaking taxes, because this is the reality, people. I'm not trying to burst any bubbles, but you never own your home.
That's right.
This is why you need to own investment property, because at least you can make money on it. Your home is a freaking liability, and you never own it. If you're in an HOA, they can kick you out. All right. If you don't pay your taxes, the state or the government will take it, and they will sell it to whoever the highest bidder is on your taxes. Okay. That wasn't our problem. But it's just, we're looking down that barrel because Texas is a migration inflation state. We are a migration inflation state. People are coming from all over to Texas. No problem. I mean, whatever. They're selling their houses, great money there, coming here, and they don't care what the price is. They're just paying it. And it's jacking the prices up. So you've got elderly folks who are in their homes, barely surviving their own taxes because their mortgage is paid off a long time ago. And so Texas needs to figure that out. This is a big issue for them. And so I have not been quiet about it on our YouTube channel and other places that I'm talking about it, but that's a good question. That's the financial side. As far as like the spiritual side and the family side, that was really the biggest thing for Alison and I to come together on. Was she was talking about doing homeschool for the kids, and I'm going, I don't want to freaking do homeschool, living in this house, because we can barely live life as it is, because just everything, you're just busy all the time. Not necessarily good stuff, just busy. So adding homeschooling to that equation just seemed miserable to me. But then when we started talking about, well, what if we just sell it all, uproot, the road, now homeschool is just part of living. Okay, well, what does that look like? And I go, well, we can shave at least 2 subjects off the plate right there. I mean, geography and history. We're going to learn that out on the road.
Yeah.
And so now all we got to worry about is making sure our kids can teach themselves, learn for themselves, and they're not going to teach themselves. We got to teach them, but they got to learn to read, learn to write, learn to do math, grammar, things like that, commas. I'm not very good at that, so that'll be Alison's thing. I'll handle the math. But yeah. So that was one of those things where I'm trying to talk to her as being the public educator that I was. I was like, when you're homeschooling, it's not a curriculum. This is just like, we're entrepreneurs, so we work when we have to, right? We work when we need to. And then the rest of the time, we play. And so the kids are going to be learning in the same style. They're going to work when they need to and play when they can. And so they're going to do homework on the weekends and schoolwork that other kids wouldn't. And they'll be bored enough, I promise you, that they're going to want to do the work. And it's already happened. They've already brought their schoolwork in the car because they're bored. So there's that. I could never have told you before COVID that working closely with my wife and being home with my family all the time would have been a good idea. And I think there's a lot of people who could probably attest to the fact that it's not. But I can tell you that we are blessed that we can actually coexist in a very small space and still love each other. We're going to have the same arguments that we always had, but we still love each other. And we found that out through the house. I mean, that's 3,400 square foot down to 350, kind of a big difference, right? But at the same time, it's still the same occupied space. And usually wherever I am, Alison's normally taking up my space and trying to like working in the kitchen. So it's like, I don't need 3,400, I can exist in 350.
I designed kitchen, so like if I want to throw away the trash, that's where Tim's cooking.
Yeah.
So I have to like, okay, I gotta throw this away. Anyway, it's no different in the RV either.
Yeah, it is no different at all.
Thank you.
Okay, for each of you, what is the first word you say when the other one backs the trailer into something for the second time?
Ooh.
Oops.
Okay, say it again. I gotta like.
What is the first word you say
When the other person.
when either one of you backs the trailer into something for the second time?
So I'm the one doing the backing of it, and I hit the thing.
Could be.
Okay. I have learned that Alice and I need to work on our communication when it comes
That's many words.
when it comes to communicating the backing up of the trailer. That is a thing we got to work on, right? And I will say this: the old timers in the park, they spoiled me quick because those old people, they've been doing it a while, and they're like got the hand signal down. You know exactly what's happening because even the old woman gets back there, she's like. I know exactly what that means. I got like I don't know what that is. You know, but and then we're using the walkie-talkies, and so now we got that communication going on. It's like, oh, I'm like, I don't know what that means. And it's in walkie-talkies, so now you got this delay. Like I gotta listen to the whoa, 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 whoa. And so I probably already hit it by then, right?
No, we did good.
But the reality is we haven't hit anything. We got close one day. I also took some video of it. We were like inches from
Yeah, we
tearing out the
got
back end.
that far away from a light post.
Yeah. So we've had some very.
We were
You did good.
on
You
the
did good.
walkie-talkie. It was fine.
Now who was
You
backing
both did
then?
good.
Tim's
Oh,
mostly been
Tim was
driving.
back in there.
Yeah.
Mostly Tim.
So
That's
yes.
called precision, Tim.
Come on.
Do you want me to preface before you ask your question what we're talking about? So the first 3 days of me putting the RV in the park by myself and setting it up, I was like, I want to clean out the RV poop tanks. Okay? And if you've ever owned an RV, which we hadn't at that point, this is our first one ever, you get these, they call them the black tanks, and they fill up with all the crap, and that's separate from your gray tanks, which is all the shower water, the dish water. So I bought all the appropriate tools. I asked one of the old timers what I'm supposed to do. I even asked the a guy I had to call to work on our air conditioning because it was so hot we just could not get relief. It was awful. And so he's like, look, you hook up the water to this thing, you run it about 10 minutes, you pull the thing, it lets the water flush out, do that a couple times, you're good. I'm like, 10 minutes? That seems like a long time, so I'm gonna cut it in half, I'm gonna go 5. I hook up the water, I do the thing. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes later, I have poop overflowing out of the toilet in our master bathroom because I overfilled the tank in 2.5 minutes. And I'm going, how did I screw this up? I set my alarm for 5 minutes, and I already shut down all the problem. I have water dripping from my upstairs to my basement area of the RV, and I'm going, how did this happen? Then my alarm goes off after 5. Yeah, it's disgusting. It is an absolute nightmare. And I'm 3 days in owning my RV and doing the stuff on my own going, I don't know if you can mess up any bigger.
We weren't there.
Yeah, they weren't there. I was supposed to go to one of our family's baby birthdays. Missed that. I spent the next 9 hours of 110 degrees cleaning out the brown water from our RV. And I had the wherewithal, and I had to like make sure my hands were clean, but I'm like trying to film as much as I can because, you know, YouTube. And I'm like, this is gonna be great content, but geez. And so your question is?
Is it all disinfected now?
As far as I know, it is disinfected. I even like pulled all of the insides out from the basement, and I had to take out all the heating lines that filled with water, and replace all that. And so I got very familiar with my RV very, very quickly in a very short period of time, cleaning up brown water. So it sucked. And I will say this: I believe every horrible moment is a blessing if you just look for it. For me, the blessing in the moment was I screwed up the biggest right out of the gate. Like, that's a big one. So that anything that has happened since then, I'm like, hey, at least you didn't like dump gallons of poo water all over the RV, right? Like, could be worse. Could be worse. So that's the answer to that. Now, I've learned a lesson. We did find out, by the way, that the water pressure coming out of that RV is about probably close to 160 psi, and so it filled up 4 times faster than it normally would with the pressure gauge on it. So that's why it did fill up, in fact, in 2.5 minutes and not 10. So I was not right. I was not wrong that this is insane how fast it happened. But it's not because we had small tanks. It's because it just came out like a fire hose. Wow. Anyway, what else? Is it? No personal
Tim.
questions?
If we get an RV, can we call on you to help?
100%. But I'm going to refer you to Cross Country Living on YouTube for any. No, I mean, look, you can learn anything on YouTube, right? So we were trying to conceptualize the whole thing. We said yes when we were in Costa Rica, like, we're doing this. We went to Costa Rica in May, and 2 months later, we had sold our house and owned an RV. And we had never owned an RV before. So that's how quickly we made our decision to go from having not really discussed it to we're in it and we don't own a home anymore. And so, yeah, and so I will say this. Well, you say, like, how do you feel so far about a month, literally a month in? What do you think?
I think it's a good experience. Like, we're learning a lot and we're doing a lot of different stuff. I don't know. I kind of like it.
There you go. Can't get a better endorsement than that. Kind of like it. So, anything? What else? Yes.
Is there anything you're scared of?
So that's a good question.
What was the question?
The question was, is there anything that we're scared of or maybe concerned about in this lifestyle? So I tend to, the higher the pressure gets in a scenario, the calmer I get. And I don't look forward to that, but I like when I've got poop everywhere, I'm like, okay, I gotta get to work, right? So there's always the fear of the unknown, but it's, I mean, if the fear of the unknown is what kept us from doing a thing, we wouldn't even start this, right? So obviously, I would say the fears are probably the same concerns we have being here. It's for my kids, it's for my family, but I also feel like I can give my kids more leash in the areas that we're in right now. And maybe we'll go to parks where I'm like, you can't go outside. We gotta get out of here, right? That could happen, but where we're at now, I love the fact that my boy will put the walkie-talkie on my chest and leave, and then he'll be like, I'm at the park. Awesome. I would not have the comfort level to do that at our house. And we live in a great neighborhood, but it's just too open and too far away and too this and too that. I was more afraid there than I am here with this gated communities and whatever. So anyway, yeah.
Who are you going to miss the most?
Okay, so I think that's really fun. So I had this thought the other day, and I don't know, because my ex was a brownie Girl Scout, but I had this song pop in my head, and I'm like, oh, it totally like brings it all together for me. And I don't know if anybody else was a brownie back in the day. You were a brownie? Anybody remember the make new friends but keep the old? One is so. Anyway, I was thinking about that. I'm starting to get to where I know I'm gonna miss this. It's been really fun and it's been a lot. You know, there's so much going on. I haven't really had time to think about it. Anyway, so I was just driving around. I thought about that, and I'm like, what are we gonna say to our old friends? Because we are meeting new friends, and that's fun too. But you know, we love our old friends too, right? The ones that have been with us through a lot. And anyway, so yeah, now it's starting to kind of settle in. Like, okay, you're really leaving, but you know, we'll be back, and you know, I think we'll be all right.
I don't look at it as you're exploring.
We're exploring.
Exploring, and then we'll be back.
We'll be back. And you know, and honestly, like truly being raised in Texas, and then having this idea that Texas is really the only place to be and screw everything else. I mean, it's a very limiting thought process, isn't it? And so I know that there's states out there that are amazing and beautiful, awesome places to probably live, and I've never seen any of them but from a soccer field. I had the blessing and pleasure as a child to play soccer all over. But I know what the United States looks like one soccer field at a time. But I don't know what those places are like, because you go there, you play, you do a whole tournament, you go home. And so it's going to be a completely different experience for us to show our kids and us even. Like, I'm literally looking at maps going, I had no idea that's where that was. I had no idea. And I mean, and that's sad, but also true as an adult. I'm going, because I didn't need to know it. I didn't need to know, which is why I know that my kids will learn more about geography from the road than they ever will from the textbook. Right? So, good question. What else?
What's been the mental and physical impact to becoming free now?
Woo! Good question. What do you got?
You go first. I'm a processor.
Okay. The mental and physical impact. I have personally leaned up. I don't know what. Okay. All right, but I've actually dropped some bloat and poundage in this whole thing. Physically, because there is so much work required to keep this rig intact and not leaking, and I'm the one breaking it down and putting it up, breaking it down, putting it up on the outside. And it's been a hot summer, and like so, just by default, you're sweating and working because I can call anybody to come fix my house. Diamond. There's not too many people I can call to come fix my RV, so I might as well get it done now. And I know how to do it, and of course you can YouTube it, right? So on the physical side, I'm probably becoming more limber, more physically capable, because I'm not so sedentary like I was, right? So I look at that as like a healthy lifestyle. Not to mention walking the dogs and riding the bikes with the kids and the stuff that I wasn't doing in the house. Because I always said, I want to get out of this fat, comfortable lifestyle. Because that's what it is. It is a sedentary, comfortable life. And 68-degree air-conditioned house, I just let that freaking thing run all day. Now my kids open the door, I'm like, shut that door! Because it's like 110 outside, they just let out all of our AC, and we don't even pay for the electricity. It's just the cold air that's missing that I'm so mad about, right? So now I realize how my grandfather felt. But as far as the mental, I will say this, for me, there is an absolute, effectively when you do something like this, you are cutting ties with the establishment of life and the paradigm that we are literally indoctrinated with. Whether that's good or bad doesn't matter. But there's a paradigm that we're expected to live as Americans from the day we're born. You do this, you get your job, you get your house, you get this, you get you married, and then you just work and you pay for it all. And if you're lucky, you're doing better than paycheck to paycheck, right? When you go so lean that you're like getting to a place where it's like you're not having to live like that, but we can kind of just choose where we want to be. There is a freedom of mental space that's taken up with this like hustle, right? But that doesn't mean we're not hustling. We have our businesses. We feel more capable of going out and helping more people than we ever did before because we're not having to deal with the stresses of life, and taxes going up, and an economy that's going down, and trying to take care of our neighbors, and like trying to do what we can to help people, right? But we're gonna go help people out of the room, and that's gonna look different. But for me, the freedom, mental freedom of breaking free of the paradigm is huge, absolutely huge. And what do you get?
So physically, that was one of the
Physical and mental.
Physically, I mean, I definitely love that we're just kind of forced to get out more. The place that we're at now, it's got great outside things. We got the lake right there and the playground for the kids. So just physically, I just like that it forces us to get out and move and just kind of be, I guess, more one with nature. And then mentally, I think you're right. It just kind of frees us up from, I just kind of get into the daily grind of, regular work life and working and stuff. I think we get to. I think Tim and I, we've never had a strong point of like planning things and whatnot. And this is going to force us to sit and plan a few things, but we can't go places if they don't have openings or whatever. So I think that's going to be a good challenge for us. So mentally, that's a good challenge. And then I think mentally too, we never really focused on the part like fun. Like we worked and we worked and we worked, and the kids were like, when are we gonna go on vacation? We're like, okay, I mean we'll plan a vacation a few months from now, whatever. And here I feel like we're gonna actually be able to like work a little bit, like you said, and then we'll take a break. Versus like before, I feel like we just kind of got caught up in the work all the time, and then really never really take the breaks that we needed.
I completely agree with that. And so, since we've been married, since we've been dating, Alison always is saying, I want to go skiing, I want to go skiing.
Oh, yeah.
Snow skiing. And we just never do it. I think we did it once or twice in our entire relationship.
Well, then Palo Bear Canyons too.
Yeah, we talked about doing the Palo Bear Canyons.
That's at
never
least
gone there.
10 years we've been talking about going, and we've never been.
And so, because we can always come up with an excuse to, well, we're too busy with this. And now, there's like, our life is a vacation to some degree. We are literally taking our home wherever the heck we want to go. So there's no excuses other than, is there an opening, right? And how much snow on top of the RV is too much snow, right? Like, I don't know the answer to that, but I bet you we find out, right? Like the tires are squishing. Is that a bad activity? But I agree with that. Like, and even our business that we have forced us to travel more than we've ever traveled. Like, even get a credit card where you get flyer miles. That was a whole new thing to us. And so here we're flying all over the country going, oh, wow. Now we're flying together. We're not separate, right? It's one thing if one of you's flying away and leave the other with the kids, but we're flying together, and then we're able to bring the kids in some places with us. Like, that shifted our paradigm to, holy crap, we can do this. It is possible. And so what if we did it more actively, and how would that work, and how do we pull that off? And that's where this kind of all came together. I'm the one that was threatening the sailboat, and that's because we watched a show called Sailing Zatara. It's a family out of Dallas that they sold everything. They had like this mansion in Dallas, and the father was a wealthy man, but he's like, I don't like the paradigm that family's being raised in. They had 5 kids. One was out of the house, so it was he, the wife, and 4 kids. Bought a sailboat, didn't even know how to sail it. Bought it in Florida, had to pay people to teach them how to sail it, and they planned on doing it maybe a year in the Bahamas or something. They are still selling that sailboat. They've upgraded. 6 or 7 years in, they're still going full time on this.
I don't like that.
Sailboat like that.
So I'm like, wheels on the road, I'm good. I like boating, but not like, that's serious boating.
We could upgrade. You never know. We get bored of RVing. We could chop the wheels off, put it in the water. So.
Get a duck boat.
Huh?
A duck boat.
A duck boat? Yeah. Those are the stories we're always telling. But anyway, is that it? I thought people were going to ask us really personal questions, but we're good. Okay. So, yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here. We love the support, and we love seeing you. And thank you for being here on like going away luncheon, and buying your own food, That was awesome. Yeah, yeah. Now we can pay for that tank of gas to get the ring. I'll validate what you brought. I got you. You're a good man.
All right, go get 'em.